let's discuss how the industry has changed. So over the last 6 years, you would have seen a lot of evolution in the space. Have you seen, I'm guessing you've seen specifications change, new standards emerge.
Yeah.
What's the sort of things you've experienced over those 6 years?
I'd say the most significant change I've noticed is the emphasis on developer experience. When I first entered the space, this was a very novel concept that not many people were acknowledging or thinking about really. So you would kind of just publish an API documentation to some sort of web portal. People weren't even really calling it developer portals at that time.
Yeah.
And the standards were different. The design looked a lot different. Just not only visually, but they were using like SOAP and XML and kind of holdovers from SOA days, which was like before my time. I can't even talk about it fluently, which shows the evolution of the space here. So yeah, and doing some of that work with programmable web, just reviewing all these documentations and realizing how difficult it was, like for someone coming from a more business perspective, just to understand what the tech was doing. But nowadays, interfaces are a lot prettier. There's more testing sandboxes. There's better use of like these sleek, dark mode filled developer experiences for these APIs. And the providers are really putting effort to make these services way more self-service, especially with the whole rise of like the API as a product trend, which we've been following on the blog and working on an ebook toward that soon too. So yeah, I've noticed that as a big movement lately, especially. It seems like, emblazoned by the success of Twilio and Nihilus, Skyflow, Shopify, there's been like API first companies literally IPOing, which is people are wondering like if there's a next API based unicorn out there for some other sort of sector that hasn't really been covered yet. So there's been a huge proliferation of that sort of API as a product concept and people trying to put that to the test, create new business models, which is super interesting. Yeah, I could go on. There's a lot with standardization, style guides, a lot of funding in the sector. There's a lot that's evolved in just a mere 6 years.
And of course, that developer experience, you started at Programmable Web, and they wanted to facilitate discovery of APIs by creating
Totally.
a directory of APIs. It kind of reminds me of Yahoo, though, like, humans sort of creating this directory listing of API services that are available and documenting them. And ultimately, of course, Yahoo's directory was supplanted by Google and the like.
Right.
So is the future more self-discovery of APIs, better indexing of APIs?
I was just talking about someone about this today, actually, with David from API Metrics. And we were kind of fiddling with the idea that discovery will essentially be solved the same way Google has approached discovery for every other, day items out there. I could totally see using metadata from an open API specification to simply populate a card that Google shows, as a dropdown.
Yeah.
Of course, having these directories is super important for comparative analysis, being able to like see performance rates, making sure SLAs are being met, comparing like different security nuances between services, and of course like pricing. So that's where these marketplaces and discovery platforms, like you mentioned, programmable web, there's API discovery, there's rapid API, of course. I think that's where their big value is. It's not like searching for these services, because like you said, someone could just do that on Google, and it's not really supplanting anything in that way. But yeah, giving some more analysis and comparative lens between the services, I see value in it still with that.
Yeah, I mean, the let's talk about your conference. Was the conference